Ministers, business leaders and economists all under one roof discussing Pakistan's economic challenges. For the last 3 years, Pakistan's economy has been grappling with one crisis after another. But the government says it has a plan to pull the country out of economic troubles. The roadmap envisages critical energy reforms and plans to privatize loss-making entities. The government has set a June deadline to divest Pakistan International Airlines, once considered to be one of the best airlines in Asia.
We are working overtime. We are working beyond what is our human capability because we have a commitment to see that Pakistan turns around and Pakistan stands as an honorable country. Pakistan stands as a successful economy.
Static exports, meager foreign investment and sluggish economic growth are some of the issues at the heart of the economic problems. Successive governments have borrowed more and more of the years, widening gap between expenditures and revenues. And adding to the challenge is the extent of large loss-making state-run entities. The losses in the energy sector alone reach $20 billion. The government wants to mitigate this through foreign investment. And to do this, it is eyeing the Gulf countries. The Saudi foreign minister recently led a high-powered delegation to Islamabad, and he was impressed.
We were extremely impressed by the very, very proactive attitude that we saw in our meetings, especially with the Investment Council. We saw a very, very strong business-focused approach on addressing the challenges, addressing the opportunities, highlighting the work that we can do together.
And they have now been offered stakes in many sectors, including agriculture, energy, mines and minerals. The government is hoping that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates alone would invest $60 to $70 billion in the next 5 years. If this happens, it will not only shore up the country's foreign reserves, but spur industrial and economic growth. Participants at this business summit have a word of advice for the government.
The lack of stability in Pakistan has created this environment where the investor doesn't have confidence that if they're going to invest today, is the same environment going to exist tomorrow?
The country's Prime Minister has dismissed any doomsday scenarios. They insist the path they are setting out will bring about a more secure future for Pakistan. Kamran Yousaf, TRT World, Islamabad.
Let's cross now live to Lahore and speak to Osama Rizvi. He is an energy and economic analyst at Primary Vision. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. Now, what are some specific indicators that suggest positive economic signs for Pakistan as highlighted by the Prime Minister, and how do these align with the government's proposed reforms?
Well, thank you so much for having me today. There have been some indicators that might not be quite significant, but they are positive. For instance, our year-on-year exports rose around 9%. The imports fell about 8.5%. There was a registered increase in remittances by about 13%. There was a crackdown on smugglers. We have recently been successful in getting another IMF plan. So all of these factors have contributed towards creating a sense of positivity and stability in the country. But to say that these indicators highlight the resolution of our problems, that would be a misstatement. I think there is a lot that needs to be done.
Right. Elaborate on that for us a bit, if you can, particularly regarding critical energy reforms and plans for privatizing loss-making entities, and how these initiatives of this roadmap aim to address Pakistan's economic challenges.
So what is happening right now is that there is a huge privatization drive in the country on the behest of IMF and other international financial lenders. There has been a revised SOE, State-Owned Enterprises Act, as well. According to that, around 20 of our public institutions and organizations will be privatized, including PIA, IMF, PIA, Railways, and the Postal Services. But according to another survey, around 82% of Pakistan's economy is already in the hands of private sector. So what I mean to say is that doing privatization only would not resolve the issues. There are multiple hindrances. For instance, there are about 100 plus permissions that you need to get in order to get a new business, in order to get a new land, in order to get a new permit. So we need more rules-based system. We need to modernize the regulatory framework. We need to develop grants. So once that happens, along with privatization, then I believe there would be some, improvements in the longer run.
Let's talk about the role of the Gulf region a bit, particularly Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and the role that they potentially could play in Pakistan's economic revival, and how likely are these proposed investments to materialize in the next 5 years?
Well, it's interesting because there has been a recent initiative by the name of Special Initiative for Facilitation Council, SIFC. Under that, there are lots of things, corporate farming. One of them is the building of a $10 billion refinery in Pakistan by Saudi Arab. We have already gotten a lot of facilities by the UAE and Saudi Arab when it comes to oil purchases. We have deferred oil purchase contracts with them. There are debt rollovers. But I think these are all what I call part of the push strategies. What Pakistan needs to do is to have the pull strategies. For instance, there is a potential of about $30 billion investment that can resolve Pakistan's gas prices at the moment. We have around 235 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves. So we should be eyeing to create such an environment, to create such factors that investors, not only from the Middle East, but also from across the world, are lured into the country and invest. Plus, we also have to be cognizant of Saudi Arab's and UAE's own plans. And I believe when we look at their foreign policy and their own economic conditions, this might also be a very important factor in terms of getting investment from them in the longer run.
All right, energy and economic analyst Osama Rizvi, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.